Hello, welcome to another episode of Business Secrets Revealed. I'm your host, Sonda Yunus, and I'm excited to have you here with my guest, Scott Quintel from United Way of Marion County.
Pleasure
Thank
to
you
be
so much
here.
for being here.
Yeah, glad to.
I'm excited to learn more about what you guys do and let everybody else know as well. Could you tell me a little bit more, please?
Sure. So United Way of Marion County is a local organization. We are focused on improving the lives of our residents here in Marion County. We focus in three areas: education, financial stability, and health. And so we bring resources together, ours and the resources of others in the community, and we, through collective impact, bring folks together and find solutions to some of our community problems.
Well, that's a mouthful.
It's enough to keep us busy, yeah.
Yes. Okay, awesome. And your role there is
So I'm the president. This is actually, I've been here in Marion County for a little over 5.5 years. Career-wise, this is my fourth United Way. I've been with United Way in other communities for 21 years now.
Wow.
And I've spent 29 years working in the nonprofit sector.
That's awesome. So have you found that the different United Ways across the board are pretty similar in operations, or is it?
Yes and no. So there are a lot of similarities in how we operate. We have the same mission. One of the things that's very unique about United Way is each United Way in each community is independent. So we have the opportunity to adjust to make sure we're meeting the needs within our local community. Because whether it's here or United Way in Indiana or United Way in Texas, there's going to be different needs, there's going to be different challenges in those communities. So it allows us to have the opportunity to be responsive to community needs, adjust to make sure that we're serving the needs that that community has in utilizing the resources in the most effective way.
Okay. And what have you found to be the key to success in a nonprofit?
I think really with any business, profit or nonprofit, it's about relationships, right? It's about building those relationships. It's getting to understand the goals and the aspirations that others have, both individually and their organizations. It's sharing what your organization is trying to accomplish, and then looking for those win-win opportunities. Where can you partner together? Where can you build that catalyst between multiple organizations where you've got everybody pulling in the same direction?
Exactly. I love relationships. I do a lot of networking. So
sure, it's important.
I completely understand. What would you say along the 29 years of you doing this? What was one of the hardest lessons that you had to learn in your position?
So one of the things that I learned, and it was probably a number of years ago when I was with United Way in Texas, was the importance of communication. Oftentimes we think that when we communicate, whether it's in writing or whether it's verbal communication with others, oftentimes when we think we've communicated enough and we think that everyone's in the loop, you're just beginning, right, to get that message across. For United Way, we have 14 employees in our organization. We also utilize nearly 1,000 volunteers a year.
Wow.
So trying to make sure that everybody understands the mission, what we're trying to accomplish, what their role is as a part of that, and how they can be successful as we try to move forward. That's really what I spend a lot of my time doing, right? It's all the cliches you hear about singing off the same sheet of music or everybody in the right seat on the bus and that type of thing. That's really where I spend a lot of my time. And sometimes people will think that when you're communicating or when you're trying to get that message across, it's just a bunch of fluff, right? You're just trying to do it in a way that everyone feels included. But it's really about making sure that everybody understands their role, everybody understands the vision and the direction. And I think that's, for any leader, that's really the most important key is, again, like I said before, when you think you've communicated enough, you're just getting started.
Yeah. Okay, good. So if I were to segue into our next question, which is if you have any advice for business owners, whether they're just starting out or just looking to scale their business, would it be communication? Is that the secret?
Oh, I think that's a key piece of it. I think the other key thing that I would suggest, goes back to what we talked about with relationships. And it's not, you have to be more open than just building relationships when you see a specific purpose for it. So you talked earlier about networking, right? And we've seen each other at some of the CEP events. I know Kevin from the CEP was the guest on your show the last time. And I can't overestimate or overemphasize the importance of those opportunities, right? I mean, it's a great benefit for the community, but also for those individuals.
Right.
And so I would tell business owners, be open to the unknown opportunities. And I'll give you, for instance, of that. We have a project that we're doing now in the Dunellen area. It's called Progress Dunellen. And this was something that I was not aware of, and one of my board members invited me to attend a meeting. And so as we went, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what the purpose was. And then as we walked through the meeting and discussed what the common goals or the common vision of what we were trying to create, and looking at the resources around the table, it very quickly for us became a conversation of, we can do this, and we can bring this to the table. And ultimately, it has led to a project that for us at United Way has been about $500,000 in revenue for the last 2 years.
That's
now,
awesome.
Going to that meeting, I didn't have any expectation that that was going to take place.
Right.
I know I'm going to meet with a group of folks that have a common vision. We want to do some work that's going to improve the lives of folks in Dunellen, but I never knew we were going to take such a leadership role in that.
Right.
And so anybody with business, for-profit or nonprofit, you have to put yourself in the positions where don't just go if you know there's a benefit, but go to things and get involved in things where you're maybe not sure at first where you fit in, but you're going to find that piece. And sometimes it may be a small role, sometimes it may be a key leadership role, but it's about exposing yourself to those opportunities.
Sometimes just about being in the right place at the right time, right?
Absolutely. And that's even for the things we do within our businesses.
Right.
Timing is such an important element. So there's been things we've done before where you're talking about taking on a new initiative or expanding your business in a certain way, and it might not be the wrong decision to make, but maybe the timing isn't right. I've seen in several times where, okay, right now, no, and maybe it's because you have other things going on and your plate's full and you just don't have the capacity, but a year and a half later, or maybe just a few months later, all of a sudden that same new initiative makes complete sense, and it's a great road to go down.
Exactly. That's perfect. So what would you say is the number one thing that you enjoy the most about what you do?
It's by far the people.
Yeah.
I get my energy and I feed off the energy of other people that we interact with. I've said before, part of it is that fundraising part that I came up through resource development, but I often describe it as I make friends for a living. That's what I do. Additionally, when it's kind of funny to think back on now, but when I was hired here in Ocala, they asked me in the interview one of the questions. I don't know if it was the answer they wanted, but they asked me, they said, well, Scott, what motivates you? And oftentimes we're going to hear that it's money, or it's recognition, or it's having the authority. And I told them, I said, I'm motivated by fun. And that's what feeds me. Our board meetings are important. We make great decisions, but there's also laughter. When we look at what we do in fundraising and some of the events we hold, there needs to be a lot of laughter and a lot of enjoyment as a part of that, because then people feel good about what they're a part of. And those are things, when I go home at the end of the day, I'm thinking back to the people I met, the people I interacted with, and how enjoyable that was for me personally.
That's perfect. Last question. I heard through the grapevine that your nickname sometimes is Squat.
There are a few people, that, and I know where that's coming from. Thank you, Kevin. There are more than one nickname actually that comes out of that one organization. So,
care to explain where that came from? Were you squatting?
No. So my name is Scott Quintel, right? And that Q starting the last name.
Gotcha.
Oftentimes, Kevin thought it was really original, but so many times in my life, when someone has gone to introduce me, instead of Scott, it comes out Squat. So and I can't even remember the event it was several years ago now. Kevin was introducing me, that happened. He thought it was clever, and it's fine. I mean, it's happened several times. I'm good with it. Tom James over at the CEP, he calls me Scotty the Body. So I know folks that have got that entered into their phone now. I'm kind of wishing that would go away. But but that goes back to what we're talking about, the fun.
Making friends.
In the partnership, we work closely with the CEP. And thank you for a couple of questions you asked Kevin on my behalf in your last show. Yes, thank you. So, but that's a great example of two organizations that are, and I'm going to speak for Kevin, I think I can say this because of some of the conversations we've had, we're always looking at not just what we do and how we can be better, but how do we make that other organization better, right? So, so learning their language, learning their culture. One of the things, talking about the CEP for a second, they don't have members, they have partners, and it's always about return on investment. So when I'm talking with folks in the community that are in that same realm that they're in, I want to utilize that same language. How can I help them meet their goals? That's going to create a relationship where they're also going to want to help me meet mine. And it's kind of that rising tide lifts all boats. As a community, that's that partnership we've got to have, right? We want all of Ocala to be strong and all of Marion County to prosper. We don't want just the nonprofit organizations, or we don't want just the businesses, but this is all about all of us being in it together. So, so those partnerships are important, and the things like Squat, that makes it fun along the way. So I will point out that I am not the one that wears dresses. That's very important to distinguish between Kevin and I. I don't wear the dresses.
I didn't mention that question.
yeah, that's probably a good thing.
Okay, good. So if somebody were to be interested in getting involved in United Way as a volunteer or any other way that they can, how would they go about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Best way is to contact our office. We have a great team there. I'm so proud of the team we have at United Way. We have some amazing individuals. I keep saying when they get me out of the way and let them take a leadership role, the organization will probably be better off. But they can just contact the office. They can reach out to me directly there if that's comfortable for them. And then typically what I like to do is just have a conversation. I look at it as a buffet, right? There's a lot of different ways that folks can engage with us and do things within the community. So let's talk about what your interests are. Let's talk about some of the things we do. And then oftentimes in that conversation, you'll see it on their face or in their eyes, something will click. And they'll know that's what I'm interested in. That's where and so then we kind of can plug them into those types of things because it's got to be meaningful and important to them as well.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's all I have. Do you have any announcements? Did you want to say hi to Mom?
Hi, Mom. Still working, still doing okay. But no, just thank you for the opportunity to come on here and chat with you. I just, you see so many organizations that have great ideas and have such a great passion for what they do. The more we as a community can support them and lift them and move them in the right direction, it's great for all of us. So thank you for all you do in making those connections.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you so much, everyone, for checking in with us today. This was Scott Quintel with United Way, and we'll see you soon.